garden and its beautiful blooms. Stay with us. What's New starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Well, happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to What's New. You may notice we are still kind of in different places right now. I just posted a picture to my Instagram feed of a very dark Studio A in the background. Jay is upstairs. I'm in the newsroom. The new lights are going in, Jay, and I can't wait to get back together with you in the newly lit studio this week.
I know. Yeah, it won't be long now. It won't be long now at all. I tell you what I'm really struggling with, Bets, is this snow on Wednesday. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that.
I think a lot of people are very, very upset with the idea that there's snow, especially when we have temperatures in the 60s and it's sunny outside today. Matt Wins is going to join us coming up in just a few minutes with a full look at that forecast.
Yeah, you can put me in the camp of very upset, for sure. All right, we'll start the show now. We begin today with the very latest from the Derek Chauvin murder trial in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Closing arguments began this morning, and it's expected this case will be in the hands of the jurors very soon. Meanwhile, tensions are growing outside the courtroom. That's where we find NBC's Jay Gray. He joins us live from there now with details on this very critical day in the trial. Jay, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Jay, absolutely. And let's get right to where we are right now. They have just finished closing arguments in this case. A rebuttal from the prosecution, the last word to this jury. They're getting a few more instructions from the judge. Look, this was the last opportunity for both sides to have a chance to talk to this jury, and they took full advantage of this, going much longer than they expected. The jury now will be behind closed doors determining the fate and, in turn, the freedom of the former Minneapolis police officer.
He did what he did on purpose, and it killed George Floyd.
Calling Derek Chauvin's actions an abuse of power, an assault, and betrayal of his badge. Prosecutors tell the jury you don't need to look much further than the images from that day, including the video of George Floyd's dying moments, to understand this case.
You can see this with your own eyes. You could see what happened, that he couldn't breathe. He said he couldn't breathe.
Working meticulously through testimony from the state's experts while often discounting those from the defense, at one point reminding the panel of Floyd's screams with Chauvin's knee across his neck.
For 9 minutes and 29 seconds, he begged, George Floyd begged until he could speak no more.
9 minutes, 29 seconds. It's not the proper analysis because the 9 minutes and 29 seconds ignores the previous 16 minutes and 59 seconds.
A struggle defense attorney Eric Nelson says framed the events and Chauvin's actions that day. The former Minneapolis police officer removing his mask, facing the jury as Nelson reviews use of force requirements, telling jurors Chauvin never violated police policy.
These are the actions of a reasonable police officer.
A phrase
A reasonable police officer
he used often during his time with the jury. Continuing, Nelson pushes on the defense theory that Floyd's heart, his use of drugs, and the crowd that gathered all played a role in his death. Yeah, again, look, we initially thought that these closing arguments would be about an hour for each side with that final rebuttal as well. Stretched much longer than that, the defense taking over just short of 3 hours. The jury, when they returned to the courthouse this morning, Jay, they were prepared to be here a while. They'll be sequestered now until they reach a verdict on all 3 counts.
All right, Jay Gray, live from Minnesota. Jay, thanks. Betsy?
Well, now on your feet at 5, the mask debate continues. More than half of U.S. adults have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. That's 130 million Americans. So many have asked, why do we still have to wear the masks? Well, of course, our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, is joining us with an answer. And Monica, it is something that everybody is really kind of over at this point, but don't give up just yet. Yeah, believe me, I know everyone is sick of wearing masks, especially me. I'm sick of it too. So there are a few reasons, though, why our health officials are saying you got to keep them on for now. First, even though we are a year into this pandemic, there is still a lot we don't know about this virus and its mutations. Yes, we know the vaccines are relatively effective against the UK variant, but there are other variants circulating that it may not be as effective, and cases continue to rise elsewhere. That just gives this virus ample opportunity to continue to mutate. Second, while these vaccines are very good, they're not 100% guaranteed.
You might get infected and get absolutely no symptoms, not know you're infected, and then inadvertently go into a situation with vulnerable people. And if you don't have a mask, you might inadvertently infect them. Now, there's a small risk of that, but it's there.
Now, I think we're going to see mask restrictions easing as more people do get vaccinated, but we are still a couple of months away from that. Bottom line, if you are fully vaccinated, you need to take into consideration who you may be putting at risk if you decide not to wear your mask in public. And remember, you can go maskless in your own personal bubble, even if everybody is protected. The other issue, though, is that the protection of these vaccines and natural antibodies, if you've been infected with COVID already, they're eventually going to wane. So if these variants figure out a way to beat these vaccines, next year we could be back at the beginning. I don't want to be Debbie Doom and Gloom here, but we got to use common sense. We are close, but we are not out of the woods just yet. All right. Well, Monica, we have heard from some health officials that not as many Americans are getting tested for COVID now. What problems does this cause for us moving forward? Yeah, now that the vaccines are becoming easier to get, fewer people are getting tested, and that's actually leaving the health departments virtually flying blind. We know that UK variant is impacting younger people, and we also know that younger people are often asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms. So if they're not vaccinated and they're not masking, well, then they're just spreading it a lot easier. So that's something to keep in mind. It's allergy season, Bets. Remember, if you think you may have COVID or been exposed, just go get tested. Yeah, it's an easy way to find out for certain. All right, Monica, thank you so much as always. Jay? Sure.
T-minus 10 days and counting now to the start of the 2021 draft, which of course will take place right here in Cleveland, Ohio. You're looking at video that we shot earlier today of the main draft stage, which is really coming together now. And if you've been downtown near the stadium at all, you can tell something big is happening. A lot of extra hustle and bustle with all the workers trying to finish off the different venues. Now, one problem that area businesses are running into, and this is a big issue, it's staffing. Some restaurant owners cannot get enough workers needed for the influx of customers that we will see once draft weekend hits. January Keaton spoke to one of the owners of Winking Lizard, who's on a quest to find more staff before the big weekend gets here.
I get the same thing every time I go to Winking Lizard. 10 plain wings, fried extra hard, a spinach salad, and a couple of white Russians with skim milk, to be healthy.
Wings prices are at an all-time high, and we're having trouble getting them right now.
Wait, what? Why?
There's a labor shortage right now, getting enough truck drivers on the road to get the product to you.
John Lane, one of the owners of Winking Lizard, says that shortage of labor delivering food products isn't the only shortage bar and restaurant owners are experiencing. In-house staff is down drastically, too.
I could tell you right now that we need 180 workers. So spread out over 17 restaurants, that's quite a few. That's over 10.
17 Winking Lizard locations exist between Cleveland and Columbus, and all are struggling to fill staff openings. Here's why. According to a recent NBC News article, although there are actually more jobs available now than before the pandemic, many food and beverage workers laid off last year were forced to find work in other industries, or they're still waiting for their old jobs to call them back. And still others, discouraged from 2020's lack of jobs, simply may not know that the job market in 2021 has heated up. So again, no one is applying, even with the NFL draft just 10 days away and the need for staff higher than ever.
And I'm blessed that I'm able to pull some from the suburbs and they're going to go downtown and work at our 2 downtown locations to get us through it. I'm not going to.
Now, John says he is pulling a total of 34 people from his locations in Independence and Bedford Heights, Beechwood, Lakewood, and Maple Heights. So we got Independence, Beechwood, Lakewood, and Maple Heights that he's pulling those suburban workers to work downtown for the draft. But this is just a temporary solution. He says he always posts jobs all the time on snagajob.com and indeed.com. And where he used to get 75 to 100 applicants when he'd post a job, now he's lucky to get 10 to 20. By the way, the draft, as you might know, is April 29th. So he's got a tall order. Man, Jay.
And a wing shortage. Oh my! Right before the NFL draft weekend, that's like a local emergency.
January. Yes, this is chaos and carnage.
What will we do?
Okay. Right.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll make it through. January Keaton live tonight on What's New January. Thanks.
Well, we have some good news for Indians fans and Cedar Point fans. Cedar Point will soon be taking reservations for fans to visit the park. Listen up. Season pass holders can start reserving their spots on April 26th. That's later this week. You will need a reservation for each pass holder. So every person in your family or whoever you're taking has to have their own reservation. The park is set to open on May 14th, counting down. Park leaders say they will follow state health guidelines by managing the social distancing capacity at the amusement park and the water park. And attendees will get to take part in new entertainment, dining options, and even more.
Well, per the governor's guidance, the Cleveland Indians will increase the number of fans that they will allow at home games at Progressive Field starting next month. The Indians started the season, you'll remember, with attendance capped at 30% of capacity because of COVID restrictions. But the governor has removed restrictions for outside sporting events. So here's where that leaves us. The Indians announcing today they will now allow 40% capacity, which will mean about 14,000 fans per game. If you're wondering why not more, it's because they still have to follow social distancing measures. The team also announced that starting May 7th, fans can be seated with mixed pods, or pods consisting of multiple groups from separate parties. The pods will be capped at 10 people per pod. The Indians averaged 22,000 fans a game in 2019. That was 21st out of 30 big league teams. And they won 93 games that year. They were red hot. So this leaves them just shy of what their average was in 2019.
And I promise we'll have some good weather coming for it, too. There's always that. Well, speaking of coming our way, tax time is on the horizon, everybody. The government gave us an extra month this year. What you need to know, even if you've already filed, in order to save you the most money. And later, the Country Music Awards made history last night. We'll tell you how in Pop Break. And also, the man of the hour, what everybody's talking about. It's the weather. And Matt, it's not going to be looking like that for long.
Yeah, Betsy, I definitely wouldn't call it man of the hour. I'm hiding in my basement for a reason. Live look at CSU cam. Boy, it's gorgeous right now. I mean, if things just stayed like this, we'd be just fine. And for your outdoor dining forecast tonight, it's looking great. Big thumbs up outside and inside. You know, outdoor dining is going to be great the next couple days if you have your snowsuit. We'll give you details an hour by hour through that storm coming up.
Well, in tonight's Money Monday, we actually have some good news when it comes to taxes. There's about to be one less headache for many who lost their jobs in 2020. And as consumer investigator Danielle Serino reports, it will likely mean more money in your pocket.
It's not quite like winning the jackpot, but for the unemployed, the American Rescue Plan is a serious payday.
If you received unemployment in 2020, the first $10,200 of unemployment is not taxable if your adjusted gross income is below $150,000.
That's about 94% of Ohioans and tens of millions of Americans overall.
It's a godsend. It's hard to have to stress about it every time they sign a bill or, and they're voting on anything, because you just sit there and pray that they're going to make things work.
If you already filed your return and didn't account for the tax break, no worries. The IRS says it will automatically send refund checks starting in May. For those who haven't filed, tax prep software has been updated.
Depending on what tax bracket you're at, we could be saving anywhere from 15 to 25% plus. So it is a big savings.
And a lifesaver for families like those in the restaurant business who were sidelined for most of the year.
I don't think people understood the gravity of what it was really going to be like being on unemployment for an entire year.
Rachel didn't want to be on camera, but says her husband, who was a server, would have been on the hook for thousands. Now, with their taxable income reduced, they and others who collected benefits last year could be eligible for additional breaks, including the Earned Income Tax Credit, education credits, even child care or dependence credit. Although, if you already filed your taxes, you'll need to file an amended return to get those.
We owe about $2,800, which might not seem like a lot, but after a year of really not being able to save, it's quite a shock.
And here's another shock for people who took a hit in 2020. If you didn't get a stimulus check because you made too much the year before, you can now file to get that money.
That's a huge opportunity for a lot of people. And we saw it across the board with individuals, whether they were unemployed, they were laid off for a time, their income went down, they were able to get that recovery rebate credit or those stimulus checks.
Now, these changes apply to your federal returns. If you want to reduce your state tax bill, you will need to file an amended return to show that your adjusted gross income decreased. Now, I put information on all of this on our website, as well as where to find low to no cost tax prep help, because you might need it this year. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
Certainly so many changes to kind of take in and try and navigate. It's a lot like the weather anymore. A lot of changes to take in and try and navigate, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, it is, Bets. In fact, my weather word today is kind of based in change. The word is shovel, as in I had already put my snow shovel away and I've gone to my garden shovel. And Matt, it looks like I'm going to have to get my snow shovel back.
Too soon.
Jay, you can do a little bit of both. I know you like to multitask, so you can shovel some dirt around today, and then you can shovel the snow off that dirt as we get on into Wednesday morning. Boy, just a testament of how crazy it can get this time of year. And, Betsy's going to show the 10-day tonight. If you wait around a week, things are going to go the opposite direction next week. We're looking at a big warm-up. So these little flings are brief this time of year, and eventually the warm air is going to win out. Warm air won out today. We're well into the 60s area-wide. We've got a nice westerly, southwesterly breeze really pumping that warmth in here. We had some sunshine dotted with some clouds, but things are starting to change off towards the north and the west. We're bringing some showers into the islands right now. Sandusky, Put-in Bay getting some rain right now. These light showers will stretch across our lakeshore counties throughout the evening hours. It's all a part of a vigorous cold front coming north out of Canada, or coming south out of Canada. You can see here just the circulation rate about here. You've got showers elongated along a frontal boundary. And the big notable thing with this front right now is the fact that we go from our 60s to some wintertime cold to the north. This is unseasonably cold air coming in. But also along that front, we've got an area low pressure that will develop. That will bring a ripple of moisture in, and because we have cold air in place, starting tomorrow, we'll have some snow to contend with, as we've been talking about. So let's take you through it. National Design Mart hour by our forecast. Here come the showers tonight, clouds for everyone else. Tomorrow morning, it will be chilly, as you'd expect. We'll generally be in the 40s. The problem with tomorrow, we're not going anywhere with those temps, especially in our northern tier of counties, as that frontal boundary remains locked in place. Look at what happens south of the front tomorrow afternoon. Dover, New Philly, Millersburg, you should make it up into the 50s with sun peaks. Meanwhile, off towards the north, we're going to have a drizzly, raw day up in the Cleveland area tomorrow. Tomorrow night, here comes that wave of moisture. It'll likely start as some rain with wet snow mixing in. This moves in 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow, and watch how this area of wet snow spreads east across the entire viewing area, and we're much colder on Wednesday morning with some leftover snow mix showers around, probably some graupel with that as well. Just kind of messy around here on Wednesday morning. In terms of snow, this is what the model's saying, much heavier off towards the north, lighter amounts down to the south. In terms of our forecast, we're going to divide it along I-71. I think a good 2 to 4 wet inches you're waking up to Wednesday morning. That in-between stage, and then you see coating down towards the south. Much lesser amounts as you get up towards the lakeshore counties because that lake is warm. So tricky Monday or Wednesday morning rush hour. And then keep in mind, all those gardeners out there, we're going to have a hard freeze around here Thursday morning, especially away from the lake. So any plants you'll want to bring in. Union Home Mortgage 7-day. Here's the warm up after that. Look at the rebound. We're in the 50s to 60 by the weekend. But we got to get through Tuesday night and Wednesday first. We'll be back with more after the break.
Well, it was a big night for country stars, and we have the biggest wins of the night. Plus, the Wahlbergs are remembering their late mother. Here's Kira Cotton with all of today's details.
We begin today with sad news. Mark and Donnie Wahlberg are mourning the loss of their mother, Alma. The mother of 9 became well known for her appearances on the reality series Wahlburgers that followed her sons as they navigated the restaurant business. Following the news of her passing, Donnie posted an emotional tribute along with the video to social media yesterday saying, "I've often said, if you like anything about me, I got it from Alma. She was without a doubt the most loving human being I've ever known." While Alma lived with dementia, the specifics surrounding her death have not yet been released. Alma Wahlberg was 78 years old. Switching gears now to music. The Academy of Country Music Awards took place last night, and the stars did not disappoint. The show was hosted by Keith Urban and Mickey Guyton, who made history as the first black woman to do so in the award show's history. Carrie Underwood took us to church with CeCe Winans. Maren Morris took home the wins for Song of the Year and Female Artist of the Year. Miranda Lambert gave not one, not two, but 3 performances, helping us understand how she became the most decorated artist in ACM Awards history. And last but not least, Luke Bryan was named Entertainer of the Year. And music sensation Lizzo wants her chance with Captain America. Don't we all? Over the weekend, the Grammy-winning musician posted a lip-sync video to TikTok after she slid into the DMs of Chris Evans with the help of a little liquid courage. She captioned the video, "Don't drunk DM kids." But little did she know, Chris would see the video and respond. In a DM of his own, he replied saying, "No shame in a drunk DM. God knows I've done worse on this app. If you know, you know." Needless to say, Lizzo was excited to hear back from him. And the best part about all of this is that Lizzo wasn't even following Chris when she sent the DM. But they're both following each other now, so maybe it was strategy. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Kira. All right, here we go. Today's Worth the Watch is amazing. I want you to meet Dexter. He loves to go for walks, Betsy, but instead of walking on all fours, look at this. He walks around town on his 2 hind legs, just like humans. Dexter has had to overcome a lot. You see, back in 2016, he was hit by a truck, but with a few surgeries and rehab, he learned to adapt. While he still has 3 legs, the back 2 are by far the strongest, and he's figured out the easiest way for him to go from point A to point B is on his 2 back legs. By the way, Dexter has his own Instagram account if you'd like to follow his travails. He has more than 217,000 followers, Betsy.
Bless
that
his heart.
is an incredible piece of video.
I love it.
I've never seen anything like it, but there you have it.
That is wonderful. That's the kind of news that we definitely like to share. The news that we don't like to share, Jay, snow is coming. Yeah, but unfortunately, that is the fact of the case here. We do have more coming up on what you can do to protect your spring flowers that are already blooming. Plus, the first flight in another world. We're going to be talking to some of the Ohio women who are helping make space history now and in the future. We'll be right back.
Hey, Al. Check 1, 2, 3. Randy and I out here on a nice date on a walk through the Daffodil Trail in the Summit County Metro Parks. Not holding hands, keeping our distance. Yep. Go.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And we'd like to welcome you into the second half hour of What's New on this Monday alongside Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. I hope everyone enjoyed the weekend and the nice weather we had this morning and really, Betsy, into this afternoon. I say I hope you enjoyed it because, as we're hearing, it's not going to last for very long.
I know, and the changes come quick here in Northeast Ohio, but the good news is just a quick hit of cooler air. I just feel bad for all the people who are in town for our special events that are coming up. They're probably going, oh man, what does this mean? But we're going to keep it close and focused here in the forecast. Matt will have an update straight ahead.
Well, if we have to get a little snow on Wednesday of this week to clear next week for the draft for beautiful weather when we have so many visitors, that's a pretty good trade. Very good trade. All right, we begin this half hour with three things you need to know. We've just learned that the murder case against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is now in the hands of the jury. It is, of course, unclear how long they will take to deliberate. Today, both sides gave their closing arguments. Prosecutors told the jury they don't need to look much further than images of that day. Meanwhile, the defense says the 9 minutes of Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck ignores the previous 16 minutes and 59 seconds. Chauvin's attorney says those 16 minutes framed Chauvin's actions that day.
And back here at home, we are honoring former Geauga County Sheriff Dan McClellan. Today, friends and family gathered at Burr Funeral Home to pay their respects. McClellan died last week after battling a brain tumor. His trusty sidekick, and the very famous sidekick she was, his canine, Midge, also died that day. The two will be buried together. McClellan spent 40 years in law enforcement before retiring, and in true McClellan fashion, there's an ice cream truck outside the funeral home because he believed you could never have too much ice cream. Perfect touch.
And Bets, after 5 days of declining COVID numbers, our new case total was actually up today, but still significantly below our 14-day average. Just 1,076 new cases were reported yesterday, but that jumped up to 1,632 new cases today. But that is still 372 below our 14-day average, which sits at 2,004 daily cases. Our cases per 100,000 is still 200, and we're now just short of 4.4 million first-shot vaccines, which is 37.56% of Ohio's total population.
Well, now to today's Top Talker, and believe me, it is a top talker. An Ohio reality check is moving in tomorrow night. We have snow that is coming. And obviously, with everything springing up around Northeast Ohio, there's a lot of folks asking, what are you supposed to do with your plants and flowers?
Yeah, our Will Ewick went to the experts today to find out what we should do to make sure that those new budding plants don't perish in the upcoming winter weather.
It lasted through the winter. If it doesn't survive a cold snap for one night, it really shouldn't be there.
Amy Roskilly with the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District says plants, flowers, and trees that have been in the ground all winter long are built to survive a quick dip with some snow. She says that's the importance of picking native plants to the region.
Everything survives. You know, it's meant to grow in these climates where we have literally 80 degrees one day and 30 degrees the next day.
However, it's a different story if you have something new that hasn't quite established itself. In that case, she suggests a little added protection.
I would suggest covering it up with like a box or a plastic bin or something for the night. They might want to put some leaves in there, put some insulation around it, because you know, even though you put the lid over it, it's still going to get cold in there. And then take it off the next day when it's back up in the 40s.
When it comes to gardens, things like peas, spinach, onions, and other cold hardy vegetables should be fine. But things like tomatoes, eggplant, and peppers shouldn't be in the ground until after the last frost. If you jump the gun on those, you should leave it, but protect it.
I wouldn't recommend taking it out of the ground and moving it somewhere, because once it's in the ground, it's starting to grow roots, and you don't want to shock it any more than you already have by popping it outside a little bit too early.
And be prepared. Your plants and flowers may not look their best the day or two after the spring snow, but just like people in Northeast Ohio, our plants are used to it, and they fight through it.
They might wilt a little bit, but then they're going to pop right back up the next day. They survived. They pop right back up. They're hardier than you think.
When it comes to some of the seasonal flowers that we've been seeing a lot lately, think of the daffodils like the ones you're seeing here. This is at Daffodil Trail in the Summit County Metro Park. Amy really said that there's no need to cover them right now. They've been out, they're ready to rock and roll. A few of them may die out, but they should bounce back. However, if you freshly planted some, maybe last week or the week before, those, Jay and Betsy, you probably want to go ahead and err on the side of caution and throw a cover over.
Yeah, cover them up. All right, you mentioned that we want to keep things like tomato plants and peppers out of the ground until that last frost. When is that typically?
Well, yeah, typically Northeast Ohio, and you never know, but about mid-May, a lot of people, Mother's Day is a good rule of thumb. Betsy, does that sound like you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but for the last frost?
Yeah, that's the old wives' tale. You typically, you put your garden in on Mother's Day and beyond, and you should be pretty good to go. It's all location dependent, but certainly it's that time of the year. And I'm actually, with the snow that's coming, more concerned about the weight of the snow. It's going to be a very slushy snow. So if you have plants that are prone to crushing, I have a hosta that has come up and it's just beautiful. I'm actually going to build a little teepee over it to try and shield it from some of that snow so its leaves can be held up. So that might be something to consider too. But certainly a lot of preparations need to be done here in the next 24 hours as this next slug of winter comes in. Will, thank you so much. Great information for everybody. Coming up next for us here on What's New, a new documentary sheds light on a retired doctor from Akron who's dedicating his time to save kids in developing countries. Hear how he's teaching them how to stand on their own. Then, what's new with NASA? Ingenuity made history on Mars this morning, but Cleveland's NASA Glenn is once again a part of a project that is out of this world, and I mean like way out. Wait till you hear about it.
Yeah, that is really cool video. Hey, this afternoon we're going to Chagrin Falls for our Save Our Sauce. We're talking about Washington Street Diner. This beloved breakfast and lunch diner offers corned beef hash and overstuffed omelets in the morning. You can get pitas and patty melts in the afternoon. Check out an entire list of Chagrin Falls eateries from our Doug Tratner at wkyc.com/Save Our Sauce. We'll be right back.
Is that better? Jeez. Today is technology.
Boy, man, I got to tell you, these are the days where I'm really happy you get to do weather first, and I'll be picking things up at 6 o'clock. So I'm just going to go ahead and toss it over to you because you've got a lot to chat about.
Yeah, I'll be watching with a tub of popcorn for your 6 o'clock there, Betsy. Trust me. We'll be good. Yeah, we've got snow. You know, a lot of people perhaps just getting home from work right now and haven't heard the news. I know my neighbors today were like, what snow? What are you talking about? So, yeah, we've got some snow coming this way. And, you know, we always keep things real here at Channel 3. This is going to be a snow that we can handle, but things are certainly going to be tricky. And obviously, it's late in the year, but it does happen. So I dug up some stats on that. Our average last snow is already beyond us. April 10th is the day. Remember last year, Jay Crawford does. May 11th, the latest accumulating snow on record. And there have been a couple years that have seen snow beyond the date when it's going to fall, which is tomorrow night and Wednesday. So let's prep for this in terms of the things I think you need to know the best. The window of heaviest snow is going to be from 8 p.m. Tuesday through 8 a.m. Wednesday. So really while we're sleeping, right, most of us outside of a couple hours, and that's going to move from west to east. Tricky morning rush hour Wednesday, sure. And a hard freeze, that's the other thing. Will had some great advice in that story. We're going to have a hard freeze, especially inland, lows likely in the low 20s. So any of those plants, as he mentioned, that perhaps you bought that aren't native, you might want to bring them in or cover them up. So let's get you through this system. Here's what we're dealing with tonight. No snow tonight, but we will have showers working in. Temperatures are going to fall back into the 40s all along this powerful cold front, which is dragging cold air in. You can see the showers here along this frontal boundary. This boundary will stall across northern Ohio tonight and tomorrow until it picks up a wave of low pressure off towards the west. That will bring the snow from west to east. Not just us going to be dealing with the snow, all the way to places that have full foliage out. They've had 80-degree temperatures in Nebraska, Kansas City. They're going to get accumulating snow as well. So your National Design Martin hour-by-hour forecast. Here come the clouds and showers tonight. Tomorrow looking kind of raw. We're going to start in the 40s. We're going to stay in the 40s, pretty much north of the I-76 corridor. South of there, you may bump up into the 50s with some sun peaks. That's where that boundary is going to be tomorrow. Otherwise, we're dealing with on and off showers, drizzle, just kind of messy tomorrow. In terms of the look of things. Not going to be a great day. That wave of low pressure moves in here Tuesday night, though. By evening, we start to bring some heavier wet snow into the western areas. Notice it's still rain down towards the south Wednesday morning until that cold air really comes in. So a quick hit of morning rush hour snow south and east of the Akron area. That's why your totals are much less down there. But we could have some pretty decent snow falling for quite a few hours overnight as you get out towards the west. So how much snow are we thinking? I-71, a good dividing line. I think 2 to 4 slushy inches. And then you get lesser amounts as you get down towards the south. Also, those of you living along the lakeshore, lake water temperature well up into the 40s. So you're not going to see much snow at all within a couple miles of the lake. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, cold on Wednesday. We slowly bounce back on Thursday, making way for the weekend where we are going to have more rain moving in here Saturday, Sunday. But at least it's the liquid kind. And then next week, Jay, wait till you see these numbers. It gets nice around here. So hang tight, Northeast Ohio. We'll get through it.
Good. Hopefully it'll be beautiful when the draft begins 10 days from now. Matt, thanks. Well, the Greater Cleveland International Film Festival wraps up this week, and one of the documentaries being shown has ties to Akron Children's Hospital. Our Kiara Cotton spoke with the folks behind Open Hearts. That's a documentary highlighting the effort to empower a developing children's hospital in Haiti.
1 in 100 kids is born with some kind of heart defect.
In the United States, 1 in 4 children are born with a heart defect. In most cases, with the help of early intervention from doctors, it's quickly resolved. But developing countries, like Haiti, don't have the same resources, and as a result, the lives of so many children are lost.
How do we support this children's hospital, a unique children's hospital in Haiti that was doing, even that time, incredible work? Could we help build their system even stronger?
Things are going to start getting a little more complex today.
In the hour-long documentary, viewers get an inside look at the efforts of Dr. Jeff Kemp, a retired physician from Akron Children's Hospital, and a team of international doctors as they perform 12 open heart surgeries in 6 days. But this isn't your normal medical mission. Along the way, the doctors are working to help and train the residents at St. Damien Pediatric Hospital so that they can become a self-run program.
When you meet the Haitian people and you realize the potential of what they can do, and that a hand sharing hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder, we all get better.
The missions are made possible with the help of Gift of Life Northeast Ohio, But the documentary was the brainchild of co-directors Travis Pollard and Jacob Castelli, who were originally only tasked with creating a 4-minute promotional video. After 7 missions, St. Damien's has become the first hospital in Haiti capable of treating children with heart disease and is now home to the first Haitian pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Alexandra Noisette. Open Hearts aims to challenge the conventional methods of helping others.
What we can do as people, what we can do as a group of folks together to make life better for those folks around us.
I'm Kiera Cotton.
That's what we should all try to do every day of our life.
3 News.
Wow. All right, Kiera, thank you very much. What a great story. And Betsy, we have some great news to share. Open Hearts actually won the local heroes competition at the Cleveland International Film Festival. You want to see it, I'm sure, after seeing that story. We have a link to the trailer of this movie and how you can stream that and others on our website, WKYC.com. That's really cool, Bats. That was a great story.
Such an inspiring story, and hopefully, it just continues to inspire more people to give and do great things to help the effort.
Absolutely. Pretty cool. All right, next on What's New, another history-making day for the folks at NASA. This was outstanding. We're going to tell you what Ingenuity accomplished on Mars today. Plus, we have the scoop on a new project to land on Saturn's largest moon and how a group in Cleveland is helping to make that happen. Then, how cute are these baby foxes? We're going to tell you where in Northeast Ohio they were spotted. Adorable now.
Hey, yeah, I do, Al. How you doing today, buddy? Awesome. Check 1, 2, 3. This is Brandon's microphone. This is what it's going to sound like. We're talking Chapel Hill Mall today. Closing soon. We're talking... Thanks. Okay.
It was another big day for NASA on Mars. Today, they successfully tested Ingenuity, the adorable little mini helicopter that made its way to Mars with the Perseverance rover. The 4-pound drone climbed 10 feet in 40 seconds before settling back down Ingenuity is expected to take several lengthier flights in the coming weeks. They had to reload the software for that thing over the weekend, so it's just a real testament to their incredible amount of smarts that they have there. But as incredible as Ingenuity is, NASA is just getting started with flight on other worlds. Just wait until you hear about what they hope to launch in 2027.
Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars.
It's been the talk of the science world for weeks. The Mars Perseverance rover is the most sophisticated suite of interplanetary exploration instrumentation to date. But it didn't travel alone because tucked inside was Ingenuity, the first ever helicopter to lift off from the surface of another planet. But NASA is just getting started on exploring other worlds by flight.
So my name is Elizabeth Turtle. I'm the principal investigator of the Dragonfly mission.
Dragonfly, an incredible mission that will send an octocopter, an 8-rotor drone the size of a small car, millions and millions of miles away to Titan.
So why Titan? Titan is a fascinating place. So it's a moon in the outer solar system. It's the largest moon of Saturn, and it's the only moon in the solar system that has an atmosphere.
An atmosphere suitable for a flying laboratory that will be looking for the ingredients in the recipe for life. Previous probe missions have shown that Titan is very similar to what scientists believe early Earth was like, with subsurface liquid water and an atmosphere made of nitrogen and methane that breaks down into complex organic molecules.
Which may be very similar to the chemistry that occurred here on Earth before chemistry took the step to biology.
So Dragonfly is a mission to find out if Titan has ever or could ever host life as we know it, or maybe life as we don't know it. But all that science is going to take power. Keep in mind, Titan is about 900 million miles away from the sun, so solar energy, not an option. So the Dragonfly team turned to time-tested technology developed right here in Cleveland at NASA's Glenn Research Center, the MMRTG.
MMRTG, multi-mission, radioisotope, thermoelectric generator. Okay, so we just say MMRTG because that's a mouthful. It takes the natural decay of plutonium-238 that gives off heat, all right? And what we do is we've surrounded that with materials called thermoelectrics that when you provide them with a hot on one side and a cold on the other side, it generates electricity.
That electricity is then stored in onboard batteries that will in turn power the drone and its instruments. It's a long-lived, reliable nuclear energy system that's been a part of 27 NASA projects and is currently powering the Mars Perseverance rover that's the new darling of the solar system. So remember that just about the time you ask yourself, what will they come up with next?
The solar system often seems to have a better imagination than we do.
Betsy Kling, 3 News. Absolutely one of those things that as soon as you hear about it, you can't help but nerd out a little bit, right? Well, Dragonfly is currently scheduled to launch in 2027. It will take 7 years for it to travel to Titan. Again, that is the largest moon of the planet Saturn. It's hard to understand just how far away that is, so keep this in mind. With the Mars Perseverance rover, it takes ground crews about 11 minutes to send radio signals to Mars from Earth. The Dragonfly team, their ground crew, it'll take 90 minutes, an hour and a half for those signals to travel all the way to and from Titan. It is just incredible. And as seems to be the case with so many things, NASA, space, and science, it is really cool. And of course, there's a Cleveland connection, Jay.
You know what I can't help but think about, Bets, is if you could somehow communicate with the early astronomers in the history of mankind, you would try to explain this to them, and even in their widely expanded brains, they would look at us and say, wait, what?
Right.
You're going where? I mean, even their imaginations, I'm not sure that it possibly could have, they could have got their minds around this idea that we're going to send a spacecraft to a moon millions of miles away. Pretty cool. Great story, Bets. Very fun stuff. All right, next on What's New, take a look at these adorable foxes. They were spotted playing in a Northeast Ohio backyard. We're going to tell you where in our Show Us Something Good. Then, on What Matters Most, that's coming up at 6 o'clock, a new run for governor. Hear why Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley is running for the state's top seat.
My IFB's dead, I think. It's going down. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't hear you. I can still give you a mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Laura Queso's mic. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
For me? I do. Hi, Al. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. How are you? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell. Here's what's happening tonight. Thank you. It's dark out here tonight.
Yeah, I do. Mic check, Monica. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm having TV issues. Not sure why this thing is.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Check 1, 2, 3. Brandon's microphone. We're talking about Chapel Hill Mall. They're going to be closing at some point to retail customers.
All right, we wrap up this Monday edition of What's New with our Show Us Something Good. Comes from the Geauga County Wildlife Facebook page. A fan shared this video of 4 little foxes playing in a backyard in Thompson Township. And Bets, they're so adorable right now. But boy, they can certainly be dangerous when they get to be full size.
They can be. I'm sure they'll keep a close eye on those little babies.
They are adorable, though, right now. We're out of time. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday of What's New. We're back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Breaking news at 6, the fate of Derek Chauvin now lies with a jury after closing arguments today from both the prosecution and defense.
You could see what happened, that he couldn't breathe. He said he couldn't breathe. You have to look at it from the reasonable police officer standpoint.
We are live in Minneapolis. Also, vaccine pause. How that hold on the Johnson & Johnson shot could affect our ability to reach herd